Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here. Welcome back to the Railway and welcome back to the Model Railway news for June 2024. And honestly, my mind is just completely blown because the amount of announcements we are still seeing this year seems to be more than ever before. You know, you hear a lot about how this hobby is dying and it's on its way out, and yet the amount of stuff announced is just genuinely crazy. So let's start by talking about this month's major announcement, which has of course been made by Accurascale. And they've revealed that an all-new Class 60 is on the way in 00 scale. So before I start talking about the specs and the prices and what's been promised, I'm going to start by showing some photos that Accurascale posted to their social medias. So right off the bat, this model seems to be at an advanced stage. These don't look like renders, these look like actual samples, which clearly have been fully decorated. They have said that changes to these samples are going to be made. They're not the final production models or anything, but nevertheless, it's clear looking at these photos that the models are well on their way. My favourite photo though is this one. It just shows the complexity of the model. Look at the grills, not just on the side but on the roof too. Some fantastic detail in those, etched of course, but there's full detail behind the grille on the side here, which just looks superb. Accurascale say these are due for delivery in Q1 of 2025, so if that comes to pass and they are on time, these models could be as little as 6 months away, which is very exciting. Right, let's get on to the nitty-gritty then. Let's talk about specs. So they've got detail variations that will represent the subtle modifications to the Class 60 over the years. It's going to have a die-cast metal chassis, an easy mag lift-off roof panel, which gives you easy access to the decoder socket and light switches, etc. It's going to have kinematic NEM couplings, a 5-pole motor with twin flywheels, that's a good staple to see there, a full suite of lighting, and even power pack capacitors for uninterrupted power on DCC versions. Really nice to see that as a feature from the factory. Detail-wise, the models are going to feature many separately fitted parts as usual, including some etched ones, which suggests quality. It's going to have full underframe detail, sprung buffers as you'd fully expect, and even snowplows included in an accessories pack too. So this really seems to be the usual high-spec model that we've come to expect from Accurascale. However, what about the price? Well, this might surprise you. It's £169.99, their standard price. So no price increases, no price hikes. Despite the size of this model, the complexity, the fact that it's a brand new tooling, this is still coming in at just less than £170. Absolutely phenomenal. People ask me, why do you always mention Accurascale? This is why. Top quality models at reasonable prices. Fantastic work. Affiliate links below if you're interested in checking these out. Up next then, let's talk about Rapido, who also have some exciting news. So a couple of editions ago, I talked about how they soft announced their new 280 locomotive, the S160. Well, back then they didn't really have any details to share with us, but now they've done the full announcement. The specs and prices and liveries have been revealed, so let's talk about those now. In terms of the specs, apparently these are going to have a large motor with twin flywheels. Now, twin flywheels is pretty common for diesels, but it's a rare thing in a steam loco. So I'm actually quite interested to see how the mechanism is going to look on these. It's also got pickups in both the loco and tender, pretty standard. Dual speakers though, one in the loco and one in the tender. That's again slightly unusual. The loco to tender connection is going to be detachable. Again, that's pretty interesting. We've not seen this kind of design from Rapido before, so I'll be fascinated to see how they've gone about this. Hopefully it'll be good. They've also got 21-pin DCC sockets in the tender, LED firebox lighting, and plenty of tooling variations which apply to the different versions of the model they're producing. And they've actually gone to the trouble of detailing these in their latest news update. And if you check out the product listings on their website, there's also a list of the variations provided here as well. Here are the options and liveries that are available to start with. You've got 10 to choose from Rapido, as you can see, plus 2 models which are exclusive to Rails of Sheffield. These are Franklin Roosevelt in the LMR blue and Private H.J. O'Brien in the USA Black livery. The full RRP for these is £269.95 DCC ready, or about £229.45 at the retailers. The Rails exclusive ones though are only available at the full RRP price unfortunately, making them just over £40 more expensive than the rest. And I have to be honest, I think this seems pretty steep for a model that is already quite expensive. So it doesn't seem to be quite as competitively priced as some of the other locos on the way at the moment, even ones from Rapido frankly. But then again, looking at the renders and what's been spoken of so far, these do appear to be pretty complex models. There's lots of pipework and different details that need to be added, and it's also a high-spec model by the sounds of it too. So while this is a little bit expensive, you can understand why that should be so, and fingers crossed these will be worth the money. I think they could be, as long as the build quality is there. Hopefully Rapido have learned from the lessons of the past. I think they have, because obviously these models will need to be perfect in order to justify that price, but I'm sure they will be. Rapido have also revealed some engineering prototypes for their new fireless locomotives, and I have to say these look seriously neat. I love the way these have been designed. It looks like they're going to be excellent. These prototypes show just how much detail these are going to have. You can see really tons of separate parts, and many of them seem to be metal as well, which is good to see. I think the name/number plates look like they're separate parts too, which is another nice touch. Hopefully they'll be etched. The boilers also appear to be die-cast, and that tells you straight away that these models are likely to be quality. And for just less than £120 at the retailers, I think that seems pretty good. So again, fingers crossed the quality will be there. Really looking forward to these fireless locos. Hopefully it won't be too long until we see these arrive with us. Up next, I want to talk about something that I should have mentioned last month, but I overlooked it. And I always say at the end of these videos, if there's anything I missed, please do let me know and I'll consider it for next month. Well, quite a few people did let me know about this one, and you're absolutely right, it does deserve a mention. So, Bachmann have revealed the decorated samples for their upcoming Rebecca model from Thomas & Friends. So Bachmann posted this to their social media, and I have to say Rebecca looks great. I don't know about you, but to me this looks like a real step up in detail. She seems to have a lot of different parts this time, so the cylinders look complex, the connecting rods look super detailed, the moulding seems to be very complex as well. There's a lot more to Rebecca than some of the other simpler characters. And the paint job as well. I think this has got to be one of the most intricate paint jobs of the entire range. Really excited to see how this one turns out. It is available to pre-order at various US retailers. The price is, well, at Train World to be $184.99, which equates to around £145. So we're not talking toy prices here. That is a lot of money, obviously. Does the detail justify quite such a high price? I'm not really that sure, so I'm going to leave that one with you. What do you think? Is this going to be more of a serious model than a toy? Do you think it justifies the price looking at the photo that we've seen? Please do comment down below and let me know. Bachmann say that we can expect to see her released in late 2024. Does that mean before Christmas? Fingers crossed. I think that would be a good move if they can pull it off. So this month has been just crazy for new announcements, but it's been even more mad for new releases. And there's actually too many for me to talk about in detail, so I'm just going to go over them briefly just to kind of show what's in stock, and if there's anything you see that you're interested in, yeah, it's ready to go right now. So in TT, we've got the Hornby Class 50. You might have seen my review. That's available now. The BR Mark IIF coaches, those are in stock as well, as is the first Coronation/Duchess model. More on that to come soon. They've also got the LMS coaches in stock now to run with the Coronation, which is some very, very good timing. In terms of Bachmann narrow gauge, they've got their new 009 Bagley Drury shunters in stock. These look fantastic, hoping to get a review of these done soon. Revolution trains have their new HOA hoppers in stock now, and Dapol's new range of 14-ton Air Ministry tankers are in stock as well, and these look super detailed. Comment down below if you want to see me review one of these. Accurascale's X-Hatton's Class 66 is now available to buy too. Again, stay tuned, I'm hoping to have a review of these coming in the near future. EFE Rail's new bloater fish fans are also available and ready to go, and do check out my review of these if you're interested in more information. And they also have their new Newton Chambers fans in stock now as well. So tons of new items to see this month. Hopefully everybody's been saving up, because I think wallets across the country are going to take a pretty hard hit this month, mine included. But it's all good stuff. I'm just loving all of these new releases. Let's finish off then with a bit of an update on Hornby. So in last month's news video, I voiced concerns about Hornby's engine shed blog. The quality of the blog was exceedingly poor. It was badly written, it didn't really make a lot of sense, it was full of repetition, and most of it was just waffle. In fact, many of you seem to think that the blog was just written by AI. I had tons of comments from people saying this has to be written by AI, I'm sure this is written by AI. Maybe it was, I don't know. But I have to say this month's blog is completely different again. It was brilliantly written, it made perfect sense, it was to the point, it didn't contain any waffle, and it was actually genuinely interesting to read. I personally really enjoyed it. So to Hornby, this month's blog was awesome. Whatever you did, well done, it's worked. This is what the Engine Shed blog should be. So let's jump in, because there's some fascinating updates here. Mainly they pertain to the decorated samples for the new LNER Coronation coaches. And this is interesting because they talk about a number of new techniques that they've used on these coaches, including the use of hot foil to achieve the stainless steel trim on the sides of the models. As you can see, this looks awesome in most areas. It's got a real shine, much better than paint. Little rough in some places though. You can see it appears to be coming off a little bit around the front. But they did acknowledge that there were some issues with this effect and that changes were being made, so hopefully the final models will be perfect. Even more impressive than this though was the interior. Now these blew my mind. Look at the chairs inside here. They're actually fully painted with this intricate pattern. They look absolutely, totally and utterly incredible. Probably the best interior detailing I've seen. And this was achieved using a technique that is new to Hornby called hydro dipping. So apparently the pattern for the chairs floats on the surface of a liquid, and those chairs are dipped in, and then the pattern sort of grips onto the chairs and conforms to the shape of the chairs, and that's how this effect is achieved. It really does look effective. And there's much more besides this as well. You can see we've got wood effects on the walls and different furniture, intricate paintwork on the walls. Probably the best interior that I've seen in 00 scale on any model whatsoever. Absolutely amazing. And this is reflected in the price. They're not cheap. Each pair of these coaches costs £139.99 RRP or £125.99 at the retailers. So this works out at about £63 per coach. Now, while that's obviously a lot of money, I am going to go ahead and say that this seems perfectly reasonable given the sheer amount of insane complexity on these coaches. I can't find much written about the specs, but I'm pretty sure it was mentioned that these have lighting in them, and that combined with the obviously massive levels of detail, I think makes this price seem at the very least reasonable, if not pretty darn excellent. So can't wait to see these. They do look very impressive indeed. Fingers crossed they turn out looking as good as they do in these photos. So I'm going to cram one more bit of news into the end of this video. A lot of people asked me to cover more American models in these news videos, and as much as I'd like to do that, obviously these videos take a long time, and if I tried to cover everything announced in the world, I wouldn't be able to do justice to any of it. So I do tend to stick with British updates, but recently I did a video on a Broadway limited imports locomotive, the Blue Goose, and a lot of people really liked that loco. I got tons of comments about it, and Broadway actually got in touch to tell me about a new locomotive that they're going to be announcing, and they sent me some interesting images of it too, which I think I should share. So it's going to be a new brass hybrid locomotive, and if it's anything like the Blue Goose was, that means it's almost entirely going to be made of metal. And the loco is this. It is the Pennsylvania Railroad S1 Duplex. So I don't know too many details about this at the time of filming, but here are the images that Broadway shared. I don't think these are photos, these do look like renders, but they do give you a sense of the model. It's an unusual model, I'll say that from the start. It's got a very interesting wheel configuration. It's a duplex locomotive, so that means it's got two independently driven sets of driving wheels and then a 6-wheel bogie at either end. It's very odd looking, isn't it? Completely unique, really. And as you can see from this image, it's absolutely massive. So would you like me to follow this project? If so, let me know down in the comments. Also, if you're not bothered, also let me know. If you are interested in that though, obviously seek it out. No doubt it's going to be pretty pricey, but obviously you do get what you pay for, at least I thought you did with Broadway. Anyway, that is it for this month's Model Railway News. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if there's anything I didn't mention today that you think deserves a mention, pop it down in the comments for me and I will look at that potentially in a future video. But for now, thank you again for watching. You have a great month and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, cheers everybody. See you soon.